Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Today I'm in a Porsche Boxster. This one is the 3.4 litre Boxster S. The weather is absolutely gorgeous, so I just thought we'd take it out for a spin and see what it was like. Can I just address something before we get into the full review? Here in Britain, most Brits love taking somebody down a peg or two. Once you get past the initial cliched British person, you know the whole, no after you, no after you, no I insist. Oh, alright, yep, cheers, sorry. So after all that nonsense, we're quite a negative bunch. I'm excluding myself from this list, by the way, because I'm not a jealous person. If you've done well for yourself and you've got nice things, then good luck to you. I think we should all try and lift one another up rather than trying to knock each other down. A lot of people out there are just like vultures, really. For example, when I got my Range Rover, a lot of people who I only half know said things like, well, they're alright until they break, or I hope you got a good warranty with it, or oh, they're not very good on fuel, you know. Yes, I know that. I just don't get it. If you haven't got anything nice to say, then say nothing. It's really quite simple. Sorry for rambling there, but it is all relevant, I promise. You see, in any other country, if you spend £50,000 on a Porsche sports car, people will congratulate you, but not in Britain. In Britain, all you'll get is, what, could you not afford the 911? Or, oh, I didn't know you were a hairdresser. Things like that. I, for one, am sick of hearing it. And the Porsche Boxster certainly doesn't deserve it. It's a brilliant sports car. It's been around since 1996. It's really difficult to believe that this car's been around for a quarter of a century. In typical Porsche fashion, the shape hasn't really changed all that much. But then why would they? I think it looks great. The front end looks like a 911. In fact, when I see one coming towards me, it's difficult to tell the difference. The rear end has always looked a little bit odd. Not bad, but just not as good as the front. And now on this 2016 model, I think they've finally got the back end looking right. I love the wraparound spoiler. I love the central exhaust. It just looks tons better than previous Boxsters. I like the new style lettering too on the back. You could be completely anti-car. You could be Greta Thunberg and you'd still tell that this was a Porsche. More than that, it looks expensive. It's a real head turner. So let's get on to some more positives because the list is long. It's luxurious. The interior is superb. I love this whole centre console here, which is standard on all new Porsches. I love the quality and the crispness of the display. It's very sharp and it's all touchscreen as well, and it responds quickly. All the buttons feel sturdy and well built. Everything feels like it will outlast you. The carpets are thick and plush, the leather's very good quality, it's all very nice and very high end. Then you've got the sound. When you start it up, it makes like a low growling sort of noise. But then when you really start to give it the guns, it screams. It does make some nice noises, this. Then you've got the performance. It's fast. I mean, it's not Bugatti Veyron fast, granted, but it's quick. This model is actually 35 kilograms lighter than the previous model, and you can tell. It still feels solid and planted, but it does feel quite athletic. Of course, it's mid-engined as well, so it really is a pleasure to drive. It sort of dances around like a dainty ballerina. You could buy this car with a 2.7 litre engine which produces 260 horsepower. This S version has 310. Now, they're both great, so it really boils down to how much money you've got to spend. If you can afford the S, then I would recommend it. If not, the standard 260 horsepower model is perfectly adequate. The S is definitely more of an event though, and the resale values of the S's are always higher, so that's worth bearing in mind. The steering is perfect. It's weighted, but it's not too heavy. It's also not too vague and light, it's just spot on. The weight distribution is perfect, so it feels like you've got total control over it. It never feels like too much. It never feels frightening or dangerous. The Boxster S is also capable of doing 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds. That's quick. Just to put that in perspective, the Porsche 911 Turbo that I filmed with a couple of months ago was capable of hitting 60 in just over 4 seconds. This hit 60 in just over 5, so there really isn't a huge amount of difference. In a little two-seater sports car like this, I would always advise that you go for the manual, but having driven several manual Boxsters over the years, the clutch is quite heavy and tiresome, so I would recommend going for this PDK automatic. It's a twin-clutch 7-speed gearbox, and the changes are instant. It's very impressive. You can also change the gears manually using these buttons on the steering wheel. So, I'm in standard mode, I'm not in sport or anything. I'm just about to overtake a Peugeot 407. Foot to the floor. Yeah, I'm already doing the speed limit there. So what can I say? It is quick. So there we go. I'm sat at 70 miles an hour in 7th gear, and I'm doing just under 2,000 RPM. So if you had to do motorway trips in this, it wouldn't be unpleasant. Let me try that acceleration again. Should we put it into sport mode and see what it's capable of? Sport. There we go. Kick down into fourth. It really does pin you into your seat, actually. There we go, better slow down. That's already quite fast, officer. It's not blisteringly quick. It doesn't take me by surprise like the M5 did, or the 911 Turbo did, but it's more than enough. The ride isn't too firm either. I mean, it's a low down sports car with big wheels, so it doesn't ride like an S500, but it's not uncomfortable. Rear visibility isn't great, to be honest. If you look through the rear view mirror, you've only got a very tiny opening. Gives you an idea of what it might be like to be a gynecologist. On a day like today, when the weather's nice, the sun's out, to be able to take a car like this on these roads is just perfect. It's really what these cars were built for. They were built as a second car, if you're lucky enough and rich enough to be able to afford one as a second car. I wouldn't want to have to use one every day, but as a luxury item, it is great fun. Sounds very good, actually. It's hard not to smile when you're driving this car because it's just got that feel-good factor. Because the engine's in the middle, you do have the added bonus of having two boots. The rear one is big enough for a carry-on bag and another small bag. Perfect for a weekend getaway. The front one is actually surprisingly deep, so you can get a few shopping bags in there, or like a laptop bag or something like that. There aren't too many cubby holes inside. You've got a little door pocket here, another little door pocket here that pulls out. You've got a couple of cup holders which are nicely hidden behind a cover there. But yeah, that's it for interior storage. But look, at the end of the day, if that's high on your list, then you really need to buy a Citroen Picasso or something like that. I love the attention to detail too. Again, just like the Cayenne I filmed with a couple of weeks ago, the key is shaped like a car, which is quite neat. I love how you can have the sat-nav either full size here on the main screen, or on one of these little binnacles there. One thing I don't like is that you still have to put the key in and turn it, which is a little bit stiff. I'm surprised a car like this doesn't have keyless go. I love that you can fold the roof down at 30 miles an hour as well if you like. My old 03 Boxster S that I had several years ago, you had to be completely stationary and the handbrake had to be on before it would let you fold the roof down. So that's a nice feature. The folding roof only takes about 10 seconds to fold down or up, so it's all over before you know it. On to running costs. To fill the tank here in England with V-Power petrol, it costs around £70. This one's just had two Pirelli P0s fitted. They cost £190 each. This one's due a service too, and Porsche of Wilmslow said that this will cost around £500 depending what's needed. Which I know is high, but it's not all that high for this kind of car, to be honest. And I think when it comes to sell it, it will help having full Porsche service history rather than the last stamp done by Cheapskate Servicing Limited. Never looks good, does it, on a car like this? The service interval on these, according to Porsche, is 20,000 miles. Now, I personally would never leave a car 20,000 miles between oil changes, but that's what Porsche say. I'd get it done every 10 personally, but they must know they're a billion-dollar company. They must know more than me, a used car dealer from Stockport. Anyway, I'll leave you to make your own mind up about that. That's one thing to mention, actually. If a service costs £500, which is a little bit on the high side, if it's only due every 20,000 miles, not every 10, that's like your average service costing you £250 every 10,000 miles, which isn't too bad when you look at it like that. Fuel consumption isn't too bad either. You'll average 24, 25 miles per gallon around town, and 35 miles per gallon on a run. Road tax here in the UK for the S version is only £300 a year, so again, it's not high for this type of car. Reliability-wise, they're not bad at all. They feel well built and solid. There are no common issues on this generation Boxster that I know of as yet. I'm sure they might come out of the woodwork as they age. But if you service them and look after them, they should last. Prices in the UK for an old 96 or 97 Boxster start at a couple of grand. This model that I'm in ran from 2012 to 2016. So you can get an early 2012 model with a 2.7 litre engine for around £20,000. One like this will set you back around 30, which I know is a lot of money, but even if you've got £10,000 to spend on a Boxster, you'll get a nice 2005 model with sensible mileage and good history. It really is an awful lot of car for that sort of money. I would recommend you going for at least an 05 onwards though, because the headlamps look much better being rounded and the interiors are nicer. The whole design just looks fresher and cleaner and more up to date. I can see why people buy these cars when they reach a certain age. It does stink a little bit of midlife crisis, but I can understand why, because it makes you feel young. It has that wow factor that an Audi TT just doesn't have. The only other contender really if you're going to spend £30,000 on a little two-seat sports car, would be the Jaguar F-Type. Now that would be quite a difficult decision. It's a special little car, this. It really makes you feel $1 million. So much so, I can't work out why somebody would spend twice as much money to get a 911. You'll have to ignore the negative comments that you will inevitably get. They're just jealous. So thanks once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link down here. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Cheers guys, take care.